Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the GTR3 Endurance Series event in Circuit Park Zandvoort. My name is Sebastian Gerhardt, and I'll be your host tonight. Well, most people know me as a German commentator. It's a German channel, but today, because of a huge international amount of drivers, I will stick to English the best I can, and I think this will work out. As you can see, already 19 drivers with a time on the list, but there are still more to come. It's 32 drivers are enlisted for this race tonight, 2 hours race. Yeah, for a lot of people it's more or less the first really long race in a RaceRoom racing experience, the simulation that will be driven tonight that we are seeing here. And there's some really interesting cars to see tonight, because it's not only the GT3 series from the ADAC Masters you can get for RaceRoom. It's also other GT3 vehicles, as you can see the Ford Mustang, driven by only one driver. It's Mark Cooper we're seeing here. And there's also a very, very interesting vehicle, because we can see the good old Alpina B6 GT3 car, which has been followed by the BMW Z4 and is now followed by the BMW M6. So it's M6, it's like the facelift version of this Alpina B6, which was a tuned version from the old BMW M6. So this is a very old car, but it's still in the GTR3 list from RaceRoom, and it's free to drive. And Julian Kunz is actually the only driver who chose the quite old GT car. And well, not so surprising, he is one of the fastest drivers, even though the car is very old. 1:38.152, and that makes him like 7/10 of a second faster than the second driver, René Legendre from France. So again, I welcome all the international drivers tonight, and we have a lot of countries. I think it's 11 countries if I counted right. So there are drivers from the US, from Canada, from UK, even we have one driver from the Cayman Islands, which in my opinion is really quite rare. But I'm gonna check the list if I can find him. And that's Momé Duplois, and let's see where he is, if he's on the server already, because you're 24 drivers, so still 8 drivers missing. But we still have some time until the qualification will start. There's a slight change in the schedule. You might have seen it when you started the stream early enough. If you check on the announcement on Facebook, or maybe on in the forum, or whatever some of your driver friends sent you, the qualification will take 5 minutes longer, but drivers are not allowed to drive in this last 5 minutes. It's like you can change your setup and just take one lap, but then you have to put the car back in the pits, because you're not allowed to do another timed lap in the last 5 minutes. So Julian Kunze with the only BMW, or let's say Alpina B6 GT3 on the track. There's another one of the French drivers, Jérôme Devy, and he put the Team GTR3 FR, so for France, to his name. It's the same with René Legendre, and we have a third French driver, and that's the Staff Chris, and I don't know if he's already on the server. Yes, he is, but he's still on his outlap during this practice. About 12 minutes left until we switch to qualification, so the whole time schedule will kind of move to the back a little bit, about a few minutes. So if you had a tight schedule for tonight when you have to go to bed, you should count in like 10 or 15 minutes in addition. I hope that's okay. The whole event has been brought up by Tarek Uzeril. His first event he made up, so 32 drivers. I could only say wow, that's really not bad for your first try. And we all hope that there won't be too many problems with the lag or ping, because so many drivers from so many different countries. So there's always this little problem of cars jumping around if the connection is not the best or something like this. So let's see if this will work out. There will be an introduction round for the drivers, so we won't have a standing start. And I think with 32 drivers, this is a good solution, because otherwise, the chance to crash might be a little bit too big. First idea was to let this race take place in Monza, but they changed to Zandvoort because Monza only has 24 starting places, so I think 24 places in the pit lane. So because Tarek Uzeril wanted it to be a really big race with more than 30 drivers, he switched to Zandvoort, to the Netherlands. So there could be enough drivers, because this track in its virtual version supports that amount of drivers. If there are any technical issues you notice during the stream, please let me know. Just write it in the chat in Twitch. That would be nice, because I can't check on everything. I'm doing this all by myself, and it's running from my own PC. So, there always could be some minor issues, so please, if there's anything that to complain, just write it in the chat and I will check on it. We still have time if anything goes wrong, and there will be enough time to fix it if it has to. So, I said we have the GTR3 cars, and not only the ADAC GT Masters cars. The latest pack that was released by Sector 3, the developers of RaceRoom, was the ADAC GT Masters 2015 pack. So cars from the last year, but there are also different cars you won't find in the ADAC GT3 pack. So for example, we do have the Ford Mustang. I already showed you the Alpina B6, but there is one very interesting car in addition, and that's the P45 Competizione, the race version of the Ferrari P4/5. Very special car, but it's also in the GTR3 list for RaceRoom, so you can take it. Sascha Schulze is the only driver actually who chose this very interesting vehicle. It's the old version in RaceRoom. It was one of the early cars built by Sector 3 Studios for the simulation, so it still is the old version from 2009 if I'm not mistaken, so it has less than 500 horsepower. There was an update made to this car a few years ago and pushed it up to a little bit more power. Well, maybe Sascha Schulze feels like, well, I would love to get these about like 60 additional horsepower to get a bit faster, but I think he couldn't make a really good lap so far. And maybe if you can read it, it's 21 seconds behind the time of Julian Kunze. So, well, this is just, you can see that he didn't make a really quite good lap since he joined on the server. So the plan was that we would start qualifying right now, but we're still missing some drivers, so it might be okay if it takes additional 7 more minutes. So that's what I said. If you have a tight schedule for tonight, if your wife or girlfriend sitting in the back and said, when do you finish watching this stupid virtual motorsport stuff? Then you say, no, it's not stupid and I will watch it as long as I want. No, don't get into marriage or relationship problems because of that, but just let them know that this will take a bit longer. So when we're done with this practice, 25 minutes of qualifying and then 120 minutes of racing. So what else do we have? Some other cars that you won't find in the ADAC GT3 Masters Pack. I think the Camaro is also you can also find in there, and you see we have some minor you see already that there's a bit with the lag with the connection speed of some drivers, but well, 32 drivers, and it hasn't been that long since the developers of RaceRoom actually pushed up the ability to have more drivers than 22, if I'm not mistaken. 22 or 24 was the number since one of the last updates 2 months ago, something like that. So if there are some issues with that amount of drivers, they can still come up. And I already read an overlay bug. Yeah, I could see that because there are some pictures missing. I don't know why. I actually hopefully started the right thing, but I can't change it right now. So if this is a problem for you viewers, I can change it to another overlay that might work better. But I think we get all the information we need. I'm well actually wondering which car is the problem. I think it's the Bentley, because the Bentley is very new to RaceRoom. It was the last edition, or the newest edition in the car pack. The Bentley Continental GT3. And it's driven by Harald Bachmann and Pavel Koshkin, who we have here, and he obviously crashed his Bentley slightly on front. Next Bentley, but still no time on the leaderboard, driven by André G. Oh, and thanks for the information in Twitch, so that this problem obviously can't be changed by now with the overlay. But as I said, we do have most of the information. I don't know why the driver on the 12th position is missing. That's kind of strange. He was there, but he isn't anymore. So it's Timo Hartmann in his Roof RT12R. You know, all these viewers that don't know why we can't show Porsche cars. So there's the reason is quite simple. Electronic Arts, the big publisher, bought the license as an more or less exclusive license over 10 years ago, and so it's not possible to get these cars in any other racing game except for Forza Motorsport from Turn 10 and Microsoft. They somehow made it work to get the license from Porsche, but no one else. So the South German Porsche tuner who produces his cars under its own name, Roof, they became quite popular in the past few years because all the racing game developers, they still wanted Porsche cars in their games, so they chose the Roof cars. Actually, the Roof RT12 is one of the few vehicles that has been tuned down for realistic racing, or for like balance of performance issues, because the real car has about something around 700 horsepower, if I'm not mistaken, and it would, if you would take this engine to in this field of cars, well, it would easily drive away from everybody. By now, no roof driver on the track. They are in the pits. Another vehicle which is already outdated is the Mercedes SLS AMG. Who's into GT racing knows that the Mercedes AMG GT is the new GT car for this year. And Leopold Stotch from the US spun around, so we would check on someone else on the track. Mike Horn in the Nissan GTR. And now there's another driver we lost in our leaderboard on the left side. It's the 23, it's Andre G, and it's in his Bentley. So don't worry if you're wondering why there's someone missing. I will inform you. Sometimes. And I hope we will. I think we can work this out without big problems. So who else is on the track? We have Oliver Kilian in the Corvette C6, actually the older version, and he switched also into the pits. Well, of course we only have 35 seconds left, so more and more drivers will prepare for the qualification. 25 minutes, but only 20 minutes allowed to get your best lap, to make your position in the starting grid. Gerardo Del Val on his Mercedes SLS AMG, still on the track from Mexico. So I just like name some other countries and the drivers from other countries we do have here, and maybe I can find the drivers with their cars. Let's wait till the qualification starts. That will make things easier because we can see the cars on track. Then we see the overlay switched already, so it's a matter of seconds. And of course, during the qualification, I think we will find some time to show you the track. So, what kind of challenge the drivers are, well, looking up to. And a few drivers already starting very, very fast. Julian Kunze, one of the first. There was someone in front of him, and it's the Mercedes SLS of Stefan Kramer. He would be the first to set a time, well, a time for this qualification, I guess, if he doesn't make a mistake or might be overtaken. I think Julian Kunze behind might slow down a little bit. Ah, it doesn't look like. I guess Stefan Kramer will let him pass because he knows that Kunze is much faster than he is. So, oh, and they already get in a fight during the outlap, the first outlap in the qualifying. Oh, come on, guys, that's a bit too much. Even though it's only 20 minutes qualification, don't exaggerate, please. It's still enough time. So Julian Kunze will be the first to set a timed lap tonight in the Alpina B6 GT3, just passing the Audi S, one of the slowest corners on the track. And of course I will show you around a little bit, or we will take the camera of Julian Kunze to show you around. So we are on board, front camera, start finish line right here, and then we heading to the first corner. It's the Tarzan Bocht, or translated the Tarzan corner. It has a slight banking, so it's a really interesting overtaking opportunity. Hunsrück we already passed. Now we're going to the Gerlach Bocht, slight right turn, and then into Hugenholz Bocht. So Bocht always means corner, just to inform you about that. So now we are at Hunsrück. I was slightly mistaken, so this is like you can turn to the right for short, for the short version. Turn 4 and 5. Quite fast, you can go at almost full throttle with these GT3 cars until you get to the Chevrolet. Long right turn, then slightly left into the Marlboro Bocht. Quite sharp corner, but the track is a bit wide here, so you can have a lot of space to take this corner. Renault corner, and it goes into Vodafone corner, quite slow. So it's always looking for the perfect spot to hit the throttle to get out the corner as fast as you can. And now the Audi has slowest part of the track, 90 degrees to the right and then 180 degrees turn left. Slight banking but very slow, low gear, and you have to be very careful because of wheel spin, and you might turn spin out. Oh, yeah, it's a little bit of the curb and almost went into the grass, but it just worked out fine, and it looks like this could be a really good lap. 1:36.646. I think he was a lot faster than he was in practice. Jesus Christ, that was one hell of a lap. Matthias Slush on second, 1:38.3. This is this is crazy. So guys, come on, maybe we will find some more drivers that can fight Julian Kunze, because otherwise this might get a quite boring race when it comes to winning. What was the first time lap for everybody, so let's just wait. Dominic Pieper in the McLaren MP4. C GT3. And Oliver Kilian just passed him on the leaderboard in his Corvette. Second position in this qualifying now for Oliver Kilian. Pascal Wallmeyer on 5th. Then we have Jérôme Devy on his Roof RT12R. The Frenchman in the third starting line, if it stays this way, but I think there will be some more drivers that will like mix it up in the front rows, and there's already one driver who moved up to 4th position. Marcel moves with another McLaren, and he's been kind of chased by Julian Kunze. Jeremy Moog from the Netherlands. It's his home track, so to say. 7th position, not that bad. 28 drivers on the server by now. Maybe there will be some drivers that won't make it in the last few minutes. I can check that actually for you. Just take a look if there's some drivers that couldn't make it. It's always like you see, I can't make it in the last minutes. So Mon Duplois, I have to say, the driver from the Cayman Islands. There is obviously some emergency in his real life, so hopefully it's not too bad. Sure, it's sad that he can't make it tonight, but hopefully everything will be okay. but I think that's the only driver who dropped out late this evening. Okay. I just looked up, there's still some more drivers we won't see tonight, so I will just check for a second. Obviously is already taken out from the grid list I have at hand at the moment. So we have another change in the front rows. It's René Legendre on 4th position in his McLaren, another of the French team of the GTR3 FR team. 3 drivers that are competing here tonight with now only 28 drivers. Still enough, I think. That's quite a big grid. Julian Kunze improved his time for about 1/10 of a second, and now he's 1 second ahead of, almost 1 second ahead of Oliver Kilian on 2nd place. Well, I don't know what to say. I guess a lot of people are wondering, what is this Julian Kunze doing to get that fast? So some other drivers we haven't seen with their cars so far. There's one of our Canadian participants, Mike Davies, in the BMW Z4. Already slight damage on the right front, as you can see, but I guess he already was in the pits, and that won't be a big problem now for him. 1:38.897 his current best time in this qualifying. It's still 10 minutes left. As I said, the last 5 minutes are not allowed to drive or to drive a timed lap. Jeremy Merck was pushed a position down by Jérôme Devy. And Dominic Pieper went past Oliver Kilian. 1:37.424 his new best time, or best lap time, and he's ahead about 1/10 of a second to Oliver Kilian. These two, Dominic and Oliver, they know each other for years from GT Legends racing, actually, and I actually know them both also for some years now from GT Legends racing, and well, it would be interesting if these two get into a fight later in the race. But there's some drivers behind them that are not that slow, and that could be interesting during the race. Mit René Legendre in the McLaren on 4th position, Mike Horn on 5th in the Nissan GTR. He's also one of the GT Legends drivers from the past I know and they know, so kind of a group of drivers. They know each other for a few years. I don't know how it is with the French drivers. I guess they're kind of a well-known trio too. I can only speak for the German drivers I know of. Not that much of a change in the like first 4 or 5 starting rows in the grid right now. There's not much going on. They all doing their laps, but they don't improve, or when they improve, they just simply don't make it past someone. But there was a change. I just said it, and of course, there's always someone to prove me wrong. Jerome Davies made it up to 7th starting position with the 1:38.147, and now it's getting really close. They're around position 5 up to position 8. Mike Horn with a 1:38.129. Then we have Marcel Meus with a 1:38.143, and then there's Jerome Davies with a 1:38.147. So, well, we have like 5,000ths of a second difference between Jerome and Marcel. So I'm quite excited what might happen in these 7 minutes they have left to set a better time. There's already still one driver we are missing, and like missing with lap time, and that's André G in his Bentley Continental. He still couldn't set a time, and he's going out now and trying. Just want to check on the drivers further back in the grid. So like the Austrian driver Mark Hopper in the only Ford Mustang GT3. And he obviously has some issues because he is quite slow in comparison to some of the other drivers, but he has someone quite close to him. It's Sascha Schulze on the 26th position behind him, because it's only 74 thousandths of a second. So maybe even these two will get their fight later in the race. Well, here I'm a little bit puzzled, because the drivers on this car, Team LSF Mitch, I don't have actually a driver's name. So there are 2 flags on the mirrors, as you can see. So I guess there are 2 drivers that would switch during the pit stop, which would mean they would be in this the same place, because you can't switch like virtually. You have to be together at one PC, and then you have to get up from your chair and let your friend sit in. I don't know how they are doing this, or maybe he's just representing the LSF Mitch team. LSF, I guess this is something to do with Live for Speed, the cost-free simulation that's still quite popular. Came up with a very good virtual reality support in the past, if someone's interested in that. Quite interesting that people with a cost-free simulation where you don't get that much money, they're really into the virtual reality stuff. I have to say, it's nice to see that you don't need that amount of money to get things going. Still, what's going on further back? We have Matthias Slush, and he put his car into the pits on the Mercedes SLS AMG. He made it up to 6th position and pushed Marcel Meus and Jérôme Devy 1 position behind. Pascal Wahlmeier on 9th position. Oh, and thanks for the information in on Twitch that the Team LSF Mitch driver is already also from France. So now we got this information too. Let's just stay with Pascal Wallmeyer because he is close to the start-finish line, and maybe we'll see an improvement in his lap time. I don't think so, because the first time is in white, so that means he's not that bad. Yeah, he not that good on this lap. Yeah, he missed his personal best by about 0.2 of a second. But muscle moves, stroke back. 1:37.929, that's his new best lap time, and he went past Matthias Lusch and Mike Horn up to 5th starting position. And now the drivers are running out of time when it comes to setting a better lap time during this qualification, because it's less than 3 minutes, then they have to stop setting lap times. And of course there won't be a warm-up. They will straight switch into the race. So you can use the last 5 minutes of the qualification, you can use them for kind of warm-up. You're just not allowed to set a timed lap. Hopefully every one of the drivers really knows about that, because, well, it can easily happen that you miss this 5-minute spot, and then you keep on driving, and then you suddenly realize, oh my god, the qualification is already over, and I still kept on driving and just didn't watch the time. But I guess they all kind of in their team speak and kind of talking to each other, so I guess there will always be someone telling the others, come on, you have to stop, you're not allowed to set another timed lap now. We're about to take a look, just look a little bit further back. So we have Jochen Richter on the Audi Camaro, Chevy Camaro GT3, slightly damaged on the front, on 10th position. I talked to him just like half an hour ago, and he said that the tires will be an issue on the Camaro, but I think that also depends on the driving style. You can make it with one pit stop, the 2-hour race for tonight, but you have to be very carefully when it comes to tires. With the fuel it works out, but the tires will be a problem, so I guess we will see a lot of 2-stop strategies. If you're going really, really fast, you can make it with a 3-stop strategy, so this might be something that Julian Kunze might take in consideration for tonight. But I guess most of the drivers will make 2 stops, just not to lose too much time when the race goes on and the tires lose their grip. So Jerry Mook, we just saw him on the 12th position, Harald Bachmann on 13th position, then there's Steph Chris already in the pits on another Nissan GTR, Mike Davies, the Canadian, on the BMW Z4. We have another change in the last few seconds. Not the last few seconds, it's already done. So it happened what I said. Some drivers just missed the information to stop their cars. And Radek Pawlacek, the Polish driver on his McLaren, set a personal best time and moved up to 9th position, but well, the problem is he actually wouldn't be allowed to do it. There are no points that they could get with this race. It's a single event, So I guess just some drivers might be a little bit annoyed. But I guess they are writing in the chat or something like, come on, you have to stop. You're not allowed to drive anymore. Please get your car into the pits. Most of the drivers are in the pits. Pavel Koshkin on his Bentley Continental GT3 will stay with the complete name. Keep things in order. On 22nd position, and then there's Nuno Relvas on another BMW Z4. One of the other drivers still going. The Portuguese driver. There were some issues with communication before and the race, of course, because not everybody is that much into English. The initiator of this race, Tarek Uzali, actually brought up a French translator to explain things to our French drivers. Because as you know, Germany kind of stands out when it comes to English education in school. A lot of other countries don't teach English that much than they do in Germany, so there's sometimes some issues. Well, that's okay. And Nuno Relvas puts his car into the pits, so everything is okay, except for Radek Pavlacek, but he didn't improve his time anymore, so it's 9th position for him, and I don't think it will change. It depends on if he's going into the pits now or not, and it doesn't look like. Oh, and there will be some... No, he's also going into the pits, so everything is fine. And Pavel Koshkin crashes his Bentley Continental GT3. So now everybody is setting up their cars for the race, just checking on fuel and everything. Maybe taking off a bit of the aggressive setup. Maybe giving a much more downforce to the car, meaning like the rear wing or the front wing, just some slight changes. Just to keep the car straight when the tires go down and the car gets lighter and everything. So Julian Kunze will start from the front. Pole position for him, and what pole position. He is about 0.7 of a second ahead of Dominic Pieper, who will start from 2nd position. Then we have the Corvette on the left from Oliver Kilian. Behind is René Lejean, the Frenchman, in another McLaren. And don't forget, no standing start. We will have kind of formation lap, introduction lap, and as you can see, someone missed that point. Stefan Kramer, obviously, in his Mercedes, was a bit too fast. No, that's not the camera I was looking for. Here we are. Marcel Moos going into this race from 5th position, just going through the starting grid. We have some time for this. Mike Horn from 6th position, Matthias Slush from 7th. Then there's Jérôme Devy, another Frenchman on the roof. RT12R on 8th position. Then Radek Pavlacek from 9th. Jochen Richter from the 10th position, followed by Pascal Warmeyer, Jeremy Mög, and or we get the rest during the race. Michael Dubree, the US driver, just on the 28th position. I think he came quite late, so he missed his opportunity to set a really good lap time. Some of the not so ordinary race cars are in the back of the field, which is quite sad. I hope to see them further more on the front, like the Ford Mustang of Mark Cooper on 26th and the P4/5 Competizione on 27th position. There's already some changes, but and Torben Kexel dropped out. Something went wrong. Tom Kexel dropped to the back of the field. Obviously some slight mistake in this introduction lap. Well, so what the hell of a grid. This is gonna be really, really interesting, and I hope everything will go fine when we are heading into the first corner, into Tarzan corner. It has a banking. When you drive carefully enough, it's easy to get there with two cars next to each other, but you never know. And Julian Kunze will open up this race. The GTR3 Endurance Series live in Circuit Park Zandvoort. When will they start? The engine's revved up and now it's on. Julian Kunze takes the lead, not much surprisingly. Then Oliver Kilian under attack from Dominic Pieper. Dominic Pieper on the outside. Now there's a slight left turn, so Oliver Kilian already has to defend himself. Can he make it on the inside? Then we have René Lejean. He's attacking Dominic Pieper, both in the McLaren MP4 12C, and I guess Dominic Pieper could defend himself. René Lejean on the right side, and there's someone spinning out. It's a BMW Z4, and I think it's Jeremy Moog. Oh no, the driver from the Netherlands on his home track, he spun out. And there's some more drivers crashed in it, obviously, but we will stay with the front, with the situation up here. Mike Horn in the Nissan GTR in the back, and here we have a really tough fight between Matthias Lusch and Jochen Richter. Jochen Richter in the orange Chevy Camaro, and he's under attack by Pascal Wahlmeier in the BMW Z4, followed by the car from Radek Pavlacek, the yellow McLaren, and Jochen Richter could defend himself against Pascal Wahlmeier, but he couldn't overtake Matthias Lusch. So now we will take a look back. What the hell happened in the back? There were some few crashes, and what already happened, the rear tires of the Camaro. It was something Jochen Richter said before the race. The tires will be an issue on his car, but not that fast. I guess he just wanted a little bit too much. Didn't look like that he got touched by the Z4 from Wahlmeier. They already spoke about gentleman's agreement before the race. So now let's just check on the grid. Timo Hartmann in his roof on 11th position. Then we have Steph Chris, the Frenchman, followed by Harald Bachmann in the Bentley, and then the BMW Z4 from the Portuguese driver Nuno Relvas. This kind of three drivers to each other, and Dominic Pieper is obviously attacking Oliver Kilian, and he passed him. And it looked a bit like Oliver Kilian let him pass on purpose. Just said, okay, come on, we are 5 minutes into a 2-hour race. Doesn't make any sense to fight. And Dominic Pieper could put like a few car lengths in between. No, just looked like he could a little bit faster. That's a nice group of cars. Going down to Pascal Wahlmeier. Position 2. Down to position 8. Here we are. And looks like Radek Pavlacek had a slight problem. Jochen Richter moved up on him, trying to get some draft. Radek Pavlacek, just to inform you, is on 9th position, so that's one of the drivers you can't see in the list. 11th position is Timo Hartmann, 20th position is Andre Geo on the Bentley, and 22nd position is Jeremy Merck, the Z4 driver who was spun out in the first lap. Oh, Matthias Lusch obviously in some kind of problem. He is really working hard to keep his Mercedes on the track. And Pascal Wahlmeier is waiting for some problems, so he might get past Matthias Lusch. They all have to kind of check on the braking spots of the other drivers. That's kind of difficult, and Wahlmeier already showing himself on the inside in the Audi S, but that didn't work out. We're quite a bit optimistic to pass there, and we have an attack from Jochen Richter against Radek Pavlacek, and he passed him in his Camaro. And I was mistaken, we weren't in the Audi S. Sorry for that. We were in the Vodafone corner, now that was the Audi S, and we're in the last two corners until they complete another lap in this 2-hour race. Yeah, it said it will be about 72 laps tonight. And in the front, things are getting clear already. Julian Kunze is just racing away from everybody. So enjoy your like single race or time trial or whatever he's doing now there in front. Already about 7 seconds ahead of Dominic Pieper, and Dominic Pieper seems to be the second fastest in the grid right now, putting some distance between him and Oliver Kilian, and he's doing the same to René Jean, and then things are getting interesting. The Frenchman followed by Mike Horn in the Nissan GTR, and they are fighting about 4th position, followed by Marcel Merckx in the black McLaren, and then Matthias Lusch and Pascal Wahlmeier, who we had already followed for some time now. But looks like Lejean is able to keep some distance to Mike Horn, so he can't attack him. Well, let's take a look back in the grid, because I am quite interesting how the cars look from the drivers that obviously got into a crash. We had like 4 or 5 cars that were standing for a short time. So here's Leopold Stotch, the US driver in the Mercedes. He lost I think like 1 or 2 positions. Torben Kexel really moved up in his Corvette. He kind of lost his starting position in the introduction round. Something happened there, but he somehow made it through a lot of drivers, actually like 10 drivers, and is now on the 16th position. I'm sorry if I'm kind of getting into trouble with this TH stuff. My English, I guess, is not that bad, but sometimes I'm still stumbling over words. Mike Davies, 17th position in this BMW Z4, the Canadian driver, and Jeremy Merck, he is one of the drivers who spun out, but the car seems okay, so obviously no one crashed into him. Maybe some of the drivers tried to evade him and then crashed into each other. That would be something that I might take into consideration. Then we have another of the French drivers, Team LSF Mitch, followed by Sascha Schulze in the P4/5 Competizione. Sorry, I already made it up 6 positions from 7 positions actually. He made it up from 27th position up to 20, and we lost 1 driver already. So I'm really sorry if I'm not able to get the name now. And there is the Team LSF Mitch driver and spins out. The McLaren driver spun out, so hopefully he will stay in the race. Be careful, there's another one coming. Yeah, it's Michael Dubré. The American BMW driver passed him, so that hard work all for nothing. And he spun out again. No, something obviously is wrong. Fell out of his driving rhythm. It happens very often. If you spin out, then getting back to your normal race speed, then you mix up the braking spots for the next corner, and then you get in even more trouble. But he knows he still has about 1 hour and 50 minutes, so there's still enough time to get back into the grid. We have a position change between Andre G and Sascha Schulze. The Bentley driver passed Sascha Schulze and is now on 19th position. I still can't see any damage on the cars, so I don't know. Maybe they all kind of parked their cars in the grass. Let's get back further up in the grid. The fight for position 5 and 6. It's Marcel Meuse in the McLaren on 5th position, and someone dropped down, I think. Yeah, it's Mike Horn. Mike Horn obviously had some problems. He's now back on 7th position. Remember, he was fighting with René Lejeune, so something went wrong with the Nissan GTR driver, and he's now under attack by Matthias Slush. There are some few lengths of cars between them, so not really attacking, just following. To keep you up to date, 10th position is Radek Pavlacek, and 11th position Timo Hartmann. The two you can see between 9 and 12. And 18th position is Jeremy Moog, and 19th position Andre G. That's what's missing actually in the overlay. As I said, I will keep you informed. And you can see there's a slight damage on the right front of this Nissan GTR from Mike Horn. So obviously he had maybe a collision, or maybe he spun out and slammed into the guardrails, something like that. Or maybe there's a damage on René Lejeune. Let's just check on his McLaren, because Mike Horn was following him, so maybe we can see a damage on the rear that would explain the situation to us, but it doesn't look. Yeah, I can see in the chat someone said like already one dropped out. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't actually say who he was. I'm really sorry. A lot of names I never heard before, honestly. So and I didn't get any information who left the server. So I honestly can't tell who is already off the server, but who is off the track I can tell you, and that's Sascha Schulze, the P4/5 Competizione driver with the quite weird car in this grid, and he obviously got hit by the another collision. Oh, there was a misunderstanding between Martin Öberg, the Swedish driver. He obviously, I guess he hit Sascha Schulze because he was slowing down to let him pass. And well, that went really wrong. That's sad. Well, that looked like a misunderstanding, so there's nothing you can do. Martin Öberg, he followed the gentleman's agreement. Nice to see that he obviously knew he made a mistake and wanted Sascha Schulze to pass, and obviously, well, I guess Martin Öberg thought he would pass on the left, and Sascha Schulze passed on the right, something like this. There's still some time in this race, so I hope they might get into another proper and fair fight during this race. So the fights for positions in the first like 12 drivers is already the decision is already made, but except for one, Pascal Wahlmeier still following Marcel Moves. These two drivers are fighting for 5th position for some time now, actually. And we have a position change. There's a fight between the two BMW Z4 drivers. Jeremy Moog from the Netherlands in a really tough fight with Mike Davis from Canada. Oh, there was some slight tapping on the back by Mike Davis. He obviously wasn't that much satisfied with this taking from Jeremy Moog. Maybe something happened we hadn't seen before, but Mike Davis, he's losing time to Jeremy Moog in really a big manner. Look at that. I mean, he passed Davies just like 5 corners ago, and now they're already more than a second distance between the two of them. So there's obviously a good reason why Jeremy Moog passed him that quickly. Of course, he wants to get back to his original position, which was, if I'm not mistaken, around position 10 or 11. So I can understand him. He's a bit on fire and trying to get further up in the grid as fast as possible. But Jeremy, think about it. You still have a lot of time. Don't you worry. I do think you will get your chance to get back to your original position. So there is another duel going on between Harald Bachmann and Nuno Relvas. The Portuguese driver in his BMW, following the Bentley Continental GT of Harald Bachmann. It's interesting to see this size differences between the Bentley and the BMW. This year they changed a little bit with the new BMW M6 GT3, but the developer of RaceRoom is working on that car. So the new BMW M6 for the simulation is in development, and the pictures that were shown on the internet, they already look very promising. So I guess it won't take much longer. Then this BMW Z4 might drop out of the GT3 grid for most of the drivers, but for tonight, as I said, it's the whole GTR3 car series you can use in this race, and not only the ADAC GT Masters from 2015. So there's another quite interesting fight going on, obviously. Yeah, it's André G, Gerardo Del Val in the Mercedes SLS, and there's also the roof from Jérôme Devy, and there's another crash obviously by Leopold Stotch, the US driver, who he lost a lot of position, and he obviously crashed really hard. Look at that front. Look at that front end of the Mercedes. Holy moly, he slammed really hard into some guardrail. I guess he will be going into the pits early. And we have Sascha Schulze in the back. But that Mercedes really looks badly damaged. Oh, I guess the front splitter came off. And that means there's not much downforce on the front. So it's really hard to steer, and then there's standing a crashed Ford Mustang in the way. I can't believe it. Mark Coppa spun out in the Audi S, and he stood in the way from Leopold Stotch. Well, that's some sort of misfortune. He already spun out, and then there's someone coming and couldn't stop the car. Because Leopold Stotch, without the downforce, the front wheels tend to block, and then you're just sliding and you can't stop the car and you can't steer and anything. Everybody knows that if you don't have ABS. It's the same situation. So no chance for Leopold Stotch to stop the car. in time, and he crashed into Mark Cooper. And Mark Cooper, well, that was a really short stop, but you can see the car obviously has to be fixed a little bit. So he's back in the race, but he left a lot of time. He's now 13 seconds behind Team LSF Mitch, the French driver in his McLaren, who already suffered an accident. And I guess he was in the pits too, because he's 15 seconds almost behind Michael Dubré, who's trying to make his way up again behind Leopold Stotsch. And looks like Leopold Stotsch keeps on going. No, he obviously had his car fixed too, if I'm not mistaken. Looks at least slightly fixed. And he doesn't have any more problems with the steering, so I don't know. I actually can't tell. And someone spun out, and it's Sascha Schulze. I missed that car on my TV. Oh, and did he stall the car? I don't know, but it's going. And doesn't look like he hit the guardrail too hard. Just lapped by Julian Kunze. So the driver who's dominating this race by now in his green, blue, silver Alpina B6, who's 14 seconds ahead of Dominic Pieper. This is kind of crazy. But we have a fight, and that's between Oliver Kilian and René Legendre. The Frenchman moved up to Oliver Kilian. He came closer again. Maybe he worked on his tires. I don't know. He drove a bit more careful. But it's only 23 minutes since we started this race, so that would be a little bit early for Oliver Kilian in his Corvette. He tends to a more drifting style of driving, and he usually is more into older cars and not in his modern GT cars. So I don't know what he did to this Corvette. Maybe he just like virtually took off the rear wing just to drift again, but it looks pretty good what he's doing right now. But he gets under pressure from René Legendre, and we obviously had some position changes further back. It's hard to tell. Mike Horn dropped back to 17th position, and he has a huge damage on the front. I didn't see him spin out, but obviously he had, because he already had a slight mistake. Obviously a slight crash with René Legendre. He was following him in the early stages of the race. Obviously hit someone or something after that again. And now is back to 17th position. I don't think he already made his pit stop. That would be really, really early. And this car doesn't seem to go that well anymore. Who's not into these GT cars, don't be mistaken, the Nissan GTR. GT3, of course, is a rear-wheel drive car, not as the street version with all-wheel drive. That would be, well, way too big of an advantage for Mike Horn and some other drivers who also chose the Japanese car, which is also has the nickname Godzilla. Steph Chris, for example, the teammate of René Legendre and Jérôme Déby, on 10th position right now. But we have to go back to the fight for position 3 between Oliver Kilian and René Legendre. So the McLaren driver is really going. There was a huge distance, like I would say about 3 or 4 seconds during the first like 5 or 10 minutes ago, but he now somehow found his rhythm on this track. In the back we can see the Ford Mustang of Mark Cooper. He already was already lapped. And there was another car, I think that was Marcel Meul's black McLaren. Yeah, there he is in the back. Just coming through the last corner. And now Tarzan corner again. And it looks like to me that that Oliver Kilian has a bit his rear wing is a bit lower, so he has more top speed on the straight, which means on a start-finish straight he is able to get ahead of René Lejean, which is really bad because this is the only position actually where you could really use the draft to pass someone, and in that case the Frenchman has a problem because he comes closer to Kilian in the infield in these more twisty parts of the track, but when it comes to top speed on the only really fast straight, he has no chance to make a move against Oliver Kilian. So I guess it will stay this way for some time, except for Oliver Kilian maybe making a mistake. But I know Oliver Kilian for being a very concentrated, very constant driver. And he knows about his advantage on the straight, so he will, even if René Lejean might get close to him in the twisty parts of Zandvoort, he might be able to block him off with this big rear of the Corvette. So we switch down to another fight, a more or less fight, between Jochen Richter in his Camaro and Radek Pavlacek in the McLaren, and someone is in the box. In the pits, sorry, I'm sometimes picking up the German word. And Michael Dubry making his first stop. This is really early. Maybe he's kind of trying something different. Maybe he's stuck behind someone and said, okay, I can make it. Now he has to stop because of the car of Mike Davies, the Canadian BMW driver. Let Michael Debris, so maybe he will do a 3-stop strategy because, well, I guess he knows that he won't make it into the first positions. I mean, he started from last place, he is back in last place, but he's only 7.5 seconds behind Leopold Stotsch. And another driver is in the pits, and now the pit stops are coming. Martin Öberg, the Swedish driver in his Mercedes, who had this slight contact with Sascha Schulze, now also refueling and changing tires. And off you go. And about 8 seconds ahead of Leopold Stotsch. Oh, and there's something going on. Stotsch in the pits. Okay, so I got that information. I only get the information when the car stops, so I didn't notice in the first place that he came into the pits. And now his crew has a lot of work to do, and there's a Bentley Continental moving in, and that should be André G. Yeah, and they both have the same pit spot. That's not a problem. The cars can move through each other in the pit lane, because there was a problem in the older simulations from Sector 3 when it's still called Zimbin, when sometimes cars had the same pit spot in the pit lane during an online race, and then if someone accidentally chose the same lap to pit as the other driver, someone had to wait. They already fixed it in the Race 07 or GTR Evolution simulation, when you also could drive through each other, and now we had the same situation here. André, quite slow short stop. That obviously looks like he didn't refuel the car. So obviously he started with a full tank of gas and only changed tires, because usually a tire change takes about 3 seconds, something like this. And now we have a really interesting fight for 7th position. Jochen Richter in the orange Chevy Camaro, ahead of Radek Pavlacek and Pascal Wahlmeier. So Pascal Wahlmeier also made his move up to these two guys, while the rest, René Lejean couldn't really attack Oliver Kilian and lost some time. And there's the first try from Radek Pavlacek. Showed himself on the inside, but there was no chance, and he has to be careful because maybe Pascal Wahlmeier is making his move. Yeah, and Radek Pavlacek, that was quite a bad idea to try to attack Jochen Richter, because now Pascal Wahlmeier took his chance and passed the Polish driver in the McLaren. I think we are now in a situation when the disintegration of the tires come into play. We already saw some drivers changing tires, and the guys, as long as they stay out, of course, the more problems they will get. So maybe as you might say, the tire whisperers now might see their opportunities to win a few positions. Not that much going on in the grid right now. Mike Horn is attacking Mike Davies. I have to say, I'm not sure if Mike Horn already was in the pits. I don't think so. The time distance to the front is, in my opinion, is too small for a pit stop. So he really got into problems. Maybe not that much used to this vehicle. Just like said, okay, I want to drive a 2-hour race in RaceRoom and just try my best. And this try my best didn't work out so well. But he is trying to attack Mike Davies. Oh, late on the brakes. Car already started to slide. Good car control not to spin out behind Mike Davies, because in RaceRoom you do have the problem that usually the driver who hits someone in the back spins out. So usually, you drive on the inside and maybe you're too late on the brakes and you tap the other driver on the back, on the side of the back, so he spins out. It's slightly different here. If you hit someone, it's more like you spin out. So it's like you get like a kick on the front and your car turns in too much. So he has to be very careful, not only because he might hit Mike Davies, but he might destroy his race even more, as he already did. Back to the fight for 7th position between Jochen Richter and Pascal Wahlmeier. Mike Horn still behind Mike Davies. I will keep an eye on that if something changes between these two. I will show you, and there's the attack from Pascal Wahlmeier, but this might be difficult. It depends on Jochen Richter. Does he fight back? Yeah. Vodafone corner, and he can keep his 7th position, but now Wahlmeier trying his way on the left side. That would be a bad idea, because we're coming to the Audi S and there's a sharp right turn, but I guess Jochen Richter has some problems with his tires, and there's another driver has been in the pits, if I'm not mistaken. Well, when there was a short stop, someone in the backfield, around 23rd, 24th position, something like this. I got a message that he was standing, but obviously he's going again, so that wasn't a pit stop. Pascal Wallmeyer didn't see a chance against Camaro on the straight, even though he had some draft, didn't work out. So, and by now, because I looked in the chat and came to some conclusions, so Stefan Kramer is actually the driver who dropped out, if I'm not mistaken. The Mercedes SLS driver, and there's another one in the pits, and that's Mike Horn. Well, that's one of the, this time of the stop fits into a two-stop strategy, even if it's like 3 minutes too early. And another one driver is in the pits. It was Gerardo Del Val. No, he wasn't in the pits. Where is he? Well, he seemed to spun out. There he is, some damage on the right front, as you can see. So obviously spun out and hit the guardrail because there's not really any driver around him. The Mexican driver, and Mike Horn coming out of the pits right behind Oliver Kilian, who lapped him in this moment. And during we were looking in the back, Pascal Wallmeyer not only passed Jochen Richter, but Jochen Richter already also gets into problems because Radek Pavlacek is coming closer again. So Jochen Richter, I guess he's just waiting for the right time to make it a two-stop strategy. So he still has to go for at least 2 minutes, and you shouldn't forget there was an introduction round where they kind of lost about 2 minutes with low speeds and not much tire wear. So this is something he has to take into consideration. So maybe stay out even a few more minutes. And he already has to defend himself against Radek Pavlacek. Another driver in the pits. It is Nuno Relvas, the Portuguese driver in his BMW. He is pitting right now, and some drivers are passing him. So he's now on 19th position, and he will be pushed back a little further. As you can see, 20th position. Andre G is the driver on 19th position, the Bentley Continental driver, just to keep you informed whose names you can't see. Oh, and someone else. Oh, Pascal Wallmeyer spun out. Pascal Wallmeyer, and I have to check where we are. That was out of the Vodafone corner. No, Audi S. Sorry. From that distance, it looks quite the same. And well, it's what I said in the beginning. Jochen Richter in the pits. So as I said, out of the Audi S, you're in a low gear. You have a high risk of spinning your rear tires and spin out. And that's exactly what happened to Pascal Wallmeyer. But I guess he could open up a club, because I think there are like almost 10 drivers now that that made the same mistake. And Mike Davies in the pits too. Jochen Richter. And that looks like a long refueling time. Mike Davies. Oh, leaving the pits already. So he obviously started with the full tank. Just refueling as much as you need for another stint. And he passed Jochen Richter. That would be interesting to see what he's gonna do. especially when we get to the second half of the race and when he will do his second pit stop. And we have a pit stop in the front. Dominic Pieper was on second position and now dropping down because of his pit stop. So he's earlier than most of the drivers in the front. Julian Kunz is still going, Oliver Kilian, René Lejean, Marcel Moos, Matthias Slush, Radek Pavlacek, Staff Chris, they are still out. And this is the car of Pascal Wahlmeier in the back. After his spin, he obviously realized that his tires are not in the best state and he should change them. That's what he did. Also very short refueling, didn't take long, so that seems to be a common BMW Z4 strategy. Maybe it's not using that much fuel than the Camaro does. That wouldn't be that much surprising because the Camaro has a huge V8 engine. And we are back with Dominic Pieper on 11th position. He came out of the pits right behind Harald Bachmann. And I hope Harald Bachmann realizes who he has behind him, because Pieper has fresh tires and he's much faster than Bachmann. And Bachmann, yeah, he keeps the door open, lets him pass. That's how you do it. And Dominic Pieper back in the top 10, so you can say most of the drivers ahead, or all of the drivers ahead, didn't make their pit stop. By now. Well, there's another fight going on between Pavel Koshkin and Mike Davies. Mike Davies was in the pits just a few minutes ago, and Pavel Koshkin, he still has to do his first stop. And I think he's going. No, he's defending against Mike Davies, but no chance for the Bentley Continental GT driver. I guess he had some problems with the traction out of the last corner, so he couldn't go full speed as Mike Davies did, and had to let him pass. You can see the big difference between the fresh and the old tires. Mike Davies just going much faster through the corners. It's the closest fight we have at the moment, of course, because of the differences when it comes to pit stops. And by now we're coming close to the situation if drivers might make follow a one-stop strategy. I'm not sure about that. We have another fight in the very back. Leopold Stotch, last position, fighting Michael Dubry. Oh, and this is a really crazy mixture, because we have Oliver Kilian. He's just lapping the guys between two of them. Dubry on the outside, Stotch on the inside, and there's Mike Horn passing through. And he's also lapping both of them. Mike Horn is lapped by Oliver Kilian, and Mike Horn is lapping Stotch and Dubry. Oh, and I get the feeling that Stotch wasn't really aware of what was going on. But what a move of Oliver Kilian. Like, get out of my way. I have a second position to defend. I'm afraid he will lose this position because Dominic Pieper is really flying at the moment. It really depends on how much time he might have lost because of this. If he's gonna do a second pit stop, he has to do a second pit stop, of course. If this works out when Oliver Kilian is only one. I tried some math here, so he's about 40 seconds behind Oliver Kilian at the moment. This could work out for the Corvette driver if he can really go for an hour without destroying his tires. Oh, Jamie Moog obviously in problems. Yeah, he spun out in the first corner. A little bit too fast, obviously. Late on the brakes. Got a bit nervous because of Dominic Pieper behind him. Oh, and sliding again. He still has to go to the pits, and you can see that his rear tires seem to, yeah, not to work very well. And there's some dirt flying. Someone spun out. And it looks like Timo Hartmann. Yes, the German Roof RT12R driver, and he's standing in the gravel and he's out. Timo Hartmann out of the race, and that looked like some technical problems because he didn't even try to start the car again to get out of the gravel. Just standing, doing nothing. I hope everything is okay. And hopefully only some technical issues and nothing else. But anyway, Timo Hartmann out of the race. So after Stefan Kramer, we left. Yes, he left, but we lost another driver. Another fight for 11th position. That's between Torben Keksel and Pascal Wahlmeier. But Wahlmeier was in the pits. Keksel wasn't. The Corvette driver was that, and was a bit getting into a little problem outside the last corner. A little bit too fast, sliding over the curb and picking up some flowers from the grass. And now he is in a fight. No, it's not a fight. It's someone who has to be lapped. It's the McLaren. Yeah, it's just thought so. It's the McLaren of the French team. Oh, and I get the information that the engine broke down. So Timo Hartmann's engine in the Roof RT12R didn't work anymore. So okay, so then there's nothing you can do, of course. So one crash at the wrong place, and he was out of the race. We've seen some other really heavy crashes, and the drivers had no problems to keep on racing. And I hope the Frenchman realizes that he has someone behind him who wants to lap him. Some problems into yeah, doesn't have the whole look of the entire situation. And Mark Hopper is in the pits again, and that's really, really early. With his Ford Mustang. Oh, and Keksel is really saying, come on, buddy. Didn't you realize that you are not fighting a position against me? I can understand Keksel, because if you have someone in front of you who is a lap down, you expect to get by, or to that he lets you pass, and he didn't. Obviously, that much concentrated on the race that he didn't realize it. And Keksel lets Kunze pass, the race leader, who's already 47 seconds ahead of Oliver Kilian. This is completely crazy. Mark Huppert dropped down to 24th position, now 25th. I think he's leaving the pits just right now. Yeah, there he is in the pink Piranha Ford Mustang. Leopold Stotch would be the next in front of him. That BMW Z4 is the car. Sorry, just have to figure out who it is actually. It's Mike Davies, the Canadian driver. No, he's not. Well, there is that Z4 I was looking for. Someone else is in the pits. Yeah, Sascha Schulze. And it's the BMW of Nuno Relvas. Just figured that out. The Portuguese driver on 20th position. And there's another fight going on between André G and Gerardo Del Valle. And there's someone else joining in, and that's Jeremy Moog. Yeah, André G got into a slight fight, obviously, with the Mercedes driver from Mexico. We could see here in front of the two. And just looked to me like André G was just recovering from the grass, and Jeremy Moog, the driver from the Netherlands, on his kind of home track, took the opportunity past André G and now is attacking Gerardo Del Valle. That's the fight for 16th position, but we have we'll see if he's attacking. Does it work out? Doesn't look like that. Jeremy Moog, who already had his pit stop by now. But we have to go more up in the grid, because there is a fight between Dominic Pieper and Staff Chris. The Frenchman in the Nissan ahead of Dominic Pieper, and we know that Dominic Pieper already was in the pits. So we have some more. Oh, there's a crash! Crash between Radek Pavlacek and Matthias Slush, and that was a heavy crash. The Mercedes is going again, and the McLaren too. Looks like Radek Pavlacek spun out and Matthias Slush crashed into him. But for that situation, the McLaren looks really well. Looks like really good British craftsmanship. But Matthias Slush on the 7th position, and there is definitely something wrong with his internet connection, as you can see. Oh, hopefully someone will tell him, because that means no one could really get close to him in the race. Otherwise it will end in a really bad crash. Maybe that was the situation. So maybe Radek Pavlacek didn't anything wrong, just was too close to Matthias Slush. And Dominic Pieper is attacking Staff Chris, and Dominic Pieper was in the pits, and he's starting to make his way up. So I'll just try to do my math again when it comes to Oliver Kilian's 2nd place, and we're talking about 35 seconds. So he's not moving up that much. So this might work out for Oliver Kilian. 5 more minutes, or maybe a few minutes more, then he will have a chance to get this 2nd position with only 1 stop. Yeah, no wonder Dominic Pieper quite easily passed Staff Chris now. And now we'll try to get closer to Marcel Moos, but it's about 16.5 seconds. And the fight is going on again. André G now against Mike Horn. He dropped out of this fight against Jeremy Moog. And behind him there is Oliver Kilian, the Corvette driver, who's about to lap both of them. And then there is the Mercedes of Gerardo Del Valle on 19th position. Behind the two of them, but there's no chance to challenge anyone for this position. He's too far behind, about 2.5 seconds by now. if someone just joined in, we are almost at the half of this 2-hour race. Just to get you some information on what's going on, and you might realize that we are missing some sort of a picture when it comes to the Bentley cars. That's because the Bentley Continental GT3 is a really new car to RaceRoom, and we're just missing the picture. So there's nothing wrong, it's just something missing because the car is that new. And Pavel Koshkin, the Russian driver, refueling, and there are the fresh tires coming on, lights on, and he's getting back into the race. And there's another driver coming into the pits. I couldn't actually see it. That's Staff Chris, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the Frenchman on 9th position now, but he will be overtaken by some other drivers who haven't been in the pits, and he's just refueling not much and made his tire change. So really interesting tactics we can see here, and that makes things quite interesting when we are looking up to who will be in front of this race in the final minutes, or let's say who will be in the like looking for the podium. Julian Kunze is almost a minute ahead of Oliver Kilian now. I don't think this will change in any way. There has to be a technical problem for Julian Kunze if this should really happen. Talking about problems, Pascal Wahlmeier obviously had some problems, and he got passed by Radek Pavlacek and Matthias Slush. That's a problem still with Matthias Slush. As you can see, his car is jumping around, and maybe that's the problem that only we have. That's something we should take into consideration. Maybe the other drivers see him as a normal moving car, but if not, it would be really good if someone might inform him, because that would cause a horrible accident. And the Mexican driver Gerardo Del Valle is in the pits right now. Take some time to refuel this car. And he's off back in the race, and I think he will stay on 20th position because he's 14 seconds ahead of Team LSF Mitch. And there's another driver in the pits. Matthias Slush is in the pits, so this is his regular stop, and Torben Keksel is joining in, the Corvette driver, and he starts really fast. Matthias Slush, no. You can see his car isn't shown to us when I switch to another vehicle, so yeah, you can see how bad his connection problems are. Oh, and Jérôme Davies stops this car, the roof driver from France. Puts an end to his race. I can't understand that actually, because he was on a good 16th position. Now he's out. Jérôme David is out, and now there are two of the GTR3 France team left. And the best of them at the moment, René Lejean on 3rd position, about 5 seconds behind Oliver Kilian. He was closer to the Corvette driver, and well, I had to let him go, but he keeps his he stays close to him. About these 5 seconds, it didn't change much. And I think Julian Kunze is in the pits. Yes, he is. And there's another BMW in the box, and that's Michael Debris, the American US American driver, is in for his pit stop. And also the Bentley Continental of Harald Bachmann, as you can see, the black and red car. And Julian Kunze, well, this will take some time. He's just at the 1 hour mark, So now I'm curious what Oliver Kilian will do. Will he go into the pits? No! So Kilian will stay, I guess he will stay out as long as he can. He's even getting some lead laps now. And might stay ahead of Julian Kunze just for a short moment. And what is with our other French driver? Okay, I already thought he might be out too, but he isn't. Team LSF Mitch dropped down to 24th position, but he will stay there, I think. And Torben Kexel is in the pits again. I guess his stop was that short because the car wasn't refueled. So he got lucky that he had another lap to go on his, I guess, quite empty tank. And make another lap to refuel his car. But of course he dropped down to 17th position and he's half a minute behind Nuno Relvas. So there won't be much going on for him now. But he has a chance to go for till the end of the race. So there's nothing except for his maybe coming up problems with his tires when we come closer to the end of the race. But he has the ability to finish the race now without another stop. And there's a fight going on between Harald Bachmann and Matthias Slush. We talked about the issues with Matthias Slush, and now he passed André G, but that was easy because André G, as you can see, the white-blue Bentley coming to the pits. And there's another McLaren coming in, and that's René Lejeune. Exactly. He drives the same car as Dominic Pieper. I think they said you shouldn't take the same car, but obviously, well, they did it. I guess they did it on by accident. So Dominic Pieper passed René Lejeune, but Pieper has to stop again. He is going on a two-stop strategy, and I don't think this will work out for Dominic Pieper. Marcel Meus also in the pits, so he followed René Lejeune. I'm curious who of the two might be quicker when it comes to their stop. This is André G starting, so he's already lapped, so that he's a lap down, so that's something different. And René Lejeune, the Frenchman, already started again. And the Polish driver Radek Pawlacek, we saw him coming to the pits. Marcel Meus coming out, and he gets overtaken by Jochen Richter and Mike Davies. But as we know, at least Jochen Richter also has to stop a second time, so he will lose this position later on in the race. So, and Oliver Kilian, I think Oliver Kilian is in the pits. Yes, there he is. Oh, sliding into the pit lane. So this will be a very long stop because he has to refill the car very much. Dominic Pieper is passing him, but after that stop, Kilian can go out and finish the race without stopping again, and we know Dominic Pieper has to stop again, but Pieper has the advantage. He doesn't have to fill up so much, so his stop might be shorter, so this could work out for the McLaren driver. Might be interesting. So Kilian back on the track again, 36 seconds behind Pieper now, or 35 seconds. And he got overtaken by Steph Chris and Pascal Wahlmeier. He's just behind them, and they both have to pit again. Just wanted to say a little thank you to all the live viewers right now there, and obviously don't have a big problem with my English. So thanks for watching. Hope you stay with us. Stay with me for the rest of the race. 54 minutes left. We won't have an interview after that because I guess we will have some... there might be one of our French drivers on the podium, and well, I have to admit, first of all, my French is quite bad, and second, the Frenchman's English is quite bad, and German anyway, so there will be some problems when it comes to communication, so we'll just skip that. It's a single event, there's nothing about a championship or something, maybe in the future, but not with this race today. So we won't have any interviews after that. And Pascal Wallmeyer is keeping up the pressure against Steph Chris. A big problem for Oliver Kilian now behind the two of them, because they are on the same lap. So Kilian can't say like, okay, look, I'm definitely the faster driver and just let me pass. They are fighting for the third position at the moment. Even though they have to stop, they don't care. So this will be some hard work for Oliver Kilian. He just came out like a second too late out of the pits. Then he would be in front of them. And this is something that would be really come in handy for Dominic Pieper. This might be the situation that might decide the result. When it comes to second position, depends on what Oliver Kilian is doing. He's trying it on the inside again against Pascal Wallmeyer. Oh, no, late on the brakes, but he pulls back into the Audi S. You don't have a chance if you try it on the inside. In this case, I mean the right side. You have to force the other driver into an error, otherwise you won't have any chance to pass someone on that side when you get into the Audi S, because you're on the right side and then you have the left turn and you're on the outside, and this is kind of impossible to get past. And you could see Oliver Kilian came a little bit wide on the last two corners and lost some momentum on the long straight. Pascal Wallmeyer is trying to find his way past Steph Chris, and the Nissan GTR driver is doing a really good job defending this position. Yeah, I got the question, actually something I asked myself. Somehow I can't switch to cockpit view, honestly. I could somehow, but then you would see it like, you would like have a GoPro view from the driver, so that looks a bit strange. So I'm sorry, I can't switch into cockpit. I just saw the bumper camera on the front. I don't know, it works with the touring cars, with the old touring cars it works fine. Somehow it doesn't work with these cars, so maybe it's an issue with the overlay. I don't know. I would love to show you pictures from the cockpit, it just doesn't work. So it's not, it's a problem with the program, and not because I'm maybe forgetting things. And maybe I'm getting older, as all of us do, but I'm not that old that I'm forgetting about camera possibilities. They're just not there. I don't have them. So that's why I'm staying with the TV cameras. Of course, we can go on this camera, but well, you lose some of the sight on the rest of the track. It's just like you see the huge rear of the BMW Z4 of Pascal Wahlmeier. Anyway, we will stay with that because it's interesting to see this from Oliver Kilian. Oh, drifting into a Renault corner, and this might be the chance for Pascal Wahlmeier. Slight touching. Oh, and Wahlmeier is spinning. No, and that was the chance for Oliver Kilian. Wahlmeier goes past Steph Chris, and Oliver Kilian passes both of them after they collide. Well, that would be a hard thing to tell who now is who's guilty for that one. Looked to me like Pascal Wahlmeier was slightly on the inside to Steph Chris, but just slightly, and Chris tried to defend slightly collision, and you could see how he's flashing with his lights. He really was angry about that situation. Lost 2 positions against Oliver Kilian, Pascal Wahlmeier, but please don't forget Wahlmeier and Chris definitely have to go into the pits again. So the fight against Kilian wouldn't have been a real fight at all. But Kilian lost a lot of time to Dominic Pieper due to that fight. And this might actually work out for Dominic Pieper. It's a 37 seconds difference now for Kilian to Pieper. Right now Kilian's advantage is that he has better tires than Dominic Pieper. Kilian's tire is about not even 10 minutes old, and Pieper made a stop about almost more than half an hour ago. Now lapping Nuno Relvas in his BMW. The Portuguese driver quite alone on this track right now. About 15 seconds behind Matthias Slush and 30 seconds ahead of Torben Kekse, so there's not much going on. He's just kind of fighting for himself. Well, that's quite normal when it comes to races over longer distance. So we're in this race now for 1 hour and 15 minutes, more or less. And so of course you have some bigger gaps. Oh, and it looks to me like he has some slight issues with his pedals. As you could see, he came up this slight bump, and his brakes, his brake lights were showing on. So I don't know. You know, there's this technical stuff, and when you have those pedals, it could happen that it's called, I don't know, someone spun off, sorry. And I actually can't say who it was. I think Radek Pavlacek, no. You could see some dirt flying and everything, but I don't know. So there was no one, I didn't see anyone stopping in my tool. So obviously if someone spun out, he was able to pick up speed right away. So this is a really interesting constellation we can see here. So André G, he's following the other Bentley of the Russian driver Pavel Koshkin. And behind the two of them, we have a completely different group of drivers. Leopold Stotsch, the US driver in the black and green Mercedes, he's back on 24th position. And then there is Gerardo Del Valle, and he's fighting for André G's position. So there's actually Leopold Stotsch is kind of in the way of the Mexican driver who we have here. And I think he's getting kind of angry. He's saying, Leopold, my friend, you are a lap down. Please let me pass. I want to get this 18th position from André G, because it seems to me like Gerardo is a little bit faster at the moment. But he also has a damaged car, and well, Pavel Koshkin let André G pass without much defense. So the both the two Bentley drivers changed positions. I get the information I should try some keys for the cameras. I can only tell you they don't work at all. Not if you are like working with this tool and everything. These buttons and commands and everything to change the camera, they don't work. Just believe me, this is a different technical thing. We'll figure this out. Hopefully there will be another event and then everything will work properly. Oh, and Gerardo Deval, he will be angry because of Leopold Stotsch in his way. Stotsch is a lap down. And actually I think he's driving the most damaged Mercedes in the field. And we have one of the French drivers in the pits, Steph Chris. th position. And he's dropping down, of course, because this is his second pit stop, and I'm curious where he will end up after this, because a lot of drivers also have to pit now, except for only a few drivers who are into their one-stop strategy. And we have a fight. It's about 6th position between Marcel Mills and Mike Davies, and Mike Davies made his move against the McLaren driver, and the Canadian driver is up to 6th position. But he has to defend it. And as in Germany you say, wie gewonnen, so zerronnen, which means like, yeah, you could say like as won, as lost. So he made his move in one corner and got the 6th position, and 2 corners later Marcel moves, took the position back. So the old order is back, and Mike Davies has to find another way to get further on. Yeah, and Nuno Relvas, who was in the pits, just left the pits in front of them. 18th position. 6 seconds behind Gerardo Deval, who I think is still behind Leopold Stotsch. Michael Debris, the US driver, now on 24th position, also had his pit stop, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was no pit stop. He had a crash. The American driver with his BMW Z4 somehow spun out into the Audi S, obviously, and not outside the Audi S. So something maybe got hit by someone or made a mistake braking on the curb or something, so the car became uncontrollable, maybe something like this. Last driver on the track, Jérôme Davies. I think he parked his car for a while, so it wasn't actually he didn't drop out of the race, he just parked and joined back in. But he's completely out of this thing, 20 seconds behind Michael Dubray. Oh, well, he has like 40 minutes time. Well, it could work out. Jérôme was faster than Michael. Might still be something going on. So we will look up further up in the grid because Jeremy Moog is on 8th position, and I think Mike Davies is in the box. Yes, Mike Davies in the pits. In the box. I'm sorry, he's not in a box, he's in the pits. Box is the German word, actually. It's kind of weird, but you only realize it when you start to change between languages. Then you realize some stupid things. So of course he's in the pits. If he's in the box is something I don't know, but he's definitely in the pits with this car right now. Tire change just completed, as it looks like. Yes, there it is, and he is leaving the pits on 13th position. Yeah, he will leave the pits in front of Torben Kexel on 14th place, so this works out. Mike Davies back on the track, and there's Dominic Pieper, and he will lose this second position, that's for sure, against Oliver Kilian. There's Kilian on the straight into the first corner, and Oliver Kilian is back in second place, and we lost another driver, and I think that's Matthias Slush. Yes. No, it's not Matthias Slush, it's the American driver. It's Leopold Stotch is out of the race. Oh, maybe he got into a slight conflict with Gerardo Del Valle. Anyway, we lost another driver about 37 minutes before this race ends. Very sad. Very sad. He was... Yeah, I guess it was a fight, this not existing fight between Gerardo Del Valle, who was trying to lap him. Another pit stop, Jochen Richter in the pits, 9th position, and short refueling. So more about the tire change, and he will come out, I think it will be, would it be 10th or 11th position? I think he will make it on 10th position. There's Harald Bachmann in the back. Yes, but Harald Bachmann couldn't make the move. Harald Bachmann on 11th position now behind Jochen Richter. So by now things are getting in the final stage when it comes to pit stops. Dominic Pieper came out on 4th position, just passing Sascha Schulze, and Pascal Wahlmeier is ahead of him. Pascal Wahlmeier, but yeah, well, he has to do his pit stop. And Dominic Pieper, of course, is much faster now than Wahlmeier because of his fresh tires. And here is the German BMW driver. And he still has to make his pit stop, but he won't be the only one. But I think he will drop down to, well, let's say about 7th or 8th position. Because René Lejeune is not that far away from Dominic Pieper. Honestly, I'm not that sure if he already made his pit stop. I don't think so. Now the two fellow countrymen, René Lejeune and Team LSF Mitch behind, both from France, and but the black and orange McLaren is a lap down, followed by Sascha Schulze. They are quite close together actually. And Jochen Richter, who made his second pit stop just a few minutes ago, is now trying to push forward. Steph Chris. I honestly don't know exactly who's behind these drivers. So it's Steph, of course, but Chris, I don't know who this is. So the French drivers just more picked like team names instead of drivers' names. So I can't actually say who's behind the wheel there, but what I can say is that whoever is behind the wheel will get into trouble soon, because Jochen Richter with his fresh tires on his Chevy Camaro seems to be a little bit faster. And might cause a bit of trouble for the Nissan GTR driver when it comes to 9th position. So the fight in the upper classes is more like they're looking for their pit stops. So we'll see some decisions in the positions when everybody made his final pit stop. But more down in the back in the field, we have Andre G fighting again against Pavel Koshkin. So the two Bentley drivers changed positions again. Behind of them, that is Marcel Nuss, who's going to lap both of them now. The black McLaren MP4 12C. Andre G let him past. Same with Pavel Koshkin, I guess, in the next few corners. And there's another interesting fight going on, because we have the Team LSF Mitch McLaren in front of Sascha Schulze, and that Mercedes you can see in the back from Martin Öberg, the Swedish driver. They are all in the same lap. They are fighting actually for their positions, and there was a slight mistake by Sascha Schulze, and he got lucky that he could break into the Renault corner on the inside, so there was no chance for Martin Öberg to attack. And the Mercedes driver has to wait for another chance to pass Sascha Schulze. So we're talking about position 19, 20 and 21, and they're really fighting for it. And that's what sim racing is about. Don't care about the position, just fight for it. And that's what they're doing. I'll keep an eye on that, but I will go back to the duel between Steph Chris and Jochen Richter. And Jochen Richter already in trouble. Almost too late on the brakes. And Jochen Richter, he's one of the drivers who has some really crazy brake spots. So he sometimes brakes somewhere where you, when you're driving next to him, you hit the brakes and you think, okay, this guy is flying, and he will go off the track, and then suddenly he starts like braking 50 meters or 100 meters later than you, and he somehow gets into the corner safely. The only joystick driver, by the way. I know he tried a steering wheel and he was so disappointed from the steering wheel he sold it like a few weeks later and got back to his joystick. And now there will be a chance for him to attack. Yeah, there will be a chance. He already took that chance. Jochen Richter passed the Steph Chris Nissan from France. Made it past him up to 9th position. And actually it's one of the few cars that has no visual damage on it. Most of the other drivers, some have some scratches on the side or some bumps or some slight damage on the car. You can't see anything. The vehicle of Jochen Richter, I don't know how. Let's just check the leader for a change. Julian Kunze. I'm surprised he didn't fall asleep behind the wheel. Oh, he was slightly drifting out of the first corner. So I guess Julian Kunze is just simply fighting himself, just going for the fastest lap. I can tell him he is far up with the fastest lap, 1:37.169. As a comparison, the second fastest lap goes to Dominic Pieper, and it's a 1:38.137. So we're talking about a difference between the two fastest laps in this race of about 1 second. This is completely crazy. Andre G just leaving the pits on 18th position. He has a big he's much ahead of Team LSF Mitch, so he is only looking for the time he loses to the drivers in front. He's now 13 seconds behind Gerardo Del Val, and I'm not sure if the Mexican Mercedes driver still has to go into the pits or if he already was. I'm not sure. We'll see it, I think, in the next about 8 minutes maybe. I don't know. Another fight. Mike Horn against Harald Bachmann, and Mike Horn just passed the Bentley driver. Mike Horn, who really suffered some accidents in the early stages of the race, fighting himself back up, but 11th position. I'm still not sure if he also has to pit again. But for some time he dropped down to 17th position, so he somehow makes his way back up. But especially the faster drivers in the top 10, it's hard to get back to that position. I think Pavel Koshkin is in the pits. Yes, the Russian driver making a second stop. Gerardo Del Val passed him. What about Andre G? They were in a direct fight, Andre G and Pavel Koshkin, and it looks like Koshkin maybe was a bit faster. Yes, he's about 2.5 seconds ahead of Andre G now. And Mike Davies, I saw him as a standing vehicle for a moment. He seemed to have stopped in front of a wall or something, I don't know, but his BMW is definitely damaged. And he just let Oliver Kilian pass. So he also is a lap down now in comparison to the driver on his second place. And Dominic Pieper is now about 13.5 seconds behind Oliver Kilian when it comes to position 2 and 3. And then we have 26 minutes left. I don't think that Pieper will be able to catch Kilian in this amount of time. It's just not enough. And position change between Martin Oeberg and the Team LSF Mitch McLaren. Looks to me like the French team made a slight mistake, because Oeberg could pass quite easily. And now we're talking about a distance of about more than a minute to Andre G, so I don't think anything will be going on there. Martin Oeberg, he would like be 19th place. Sorry, that's okay. I can't do anything more. He got into that accident with Sascha Schulze. Which took him a bit off from the rest of the field, so he had no draft and anything, so I guess he would have been a little bit further up in the field if this accident wouldn't have happened. But wouldn't have, and so on, you know, won't help you much when it comes to the end of the race. He will defend this position against the Team LSF Mitch. Sascha Schulze on 21st position couldn't follow them, and Michael Debris, something is wrong there, isn't it? No, everything's just fine. I don't have a time difference shown, so this is kind of strange. The same with Jerome Devi. I guess that's because they're a few laps down. Oh, and Sascha Schulze. No, there's no problem. There's his pit stop, and there's also Jeremy Moog in the pits from 7th position now. I'm curious where he will end up now after this stop. Just a little bit of fuel and tire change, and 24 minutes left. Off you go. 8th position. He really worked his way back up. The first one who, I don't know if he spun out by himself or he got hit in the first lap of the race. And he really had to move up from way behind in the field, and now he's on 8th position. But it's like 16 and a half seconds behind Pascal Wahlmeier, and Wahlmeier was in the pits, so I don't think Moog will get much further in the field. Except one of these guys ahead of him do make a mistake. Pascal Wahlmeier trying to attack Radek Pavlocek. Pavlacek, excuse me. Marcel Moos is ahead of the two of them. The black McLaren you just could see through this left corner, and in between is the Ford Mustang of Mark Hopper. So the Austrian driver somehow has to find a way to let them pass. Oh, and Jeremy Moog again in the pits, so something went wrong with the fuel, I guess, because the lights are off. Oh, that is really, really sad for the driver from the Netherlands on his home circuit. I don't know if he's from Zandvoort, but he's of course from the Netherlands, and so I would just call it his home circuit. And he drops down to 13th place. Something went terribly wrong with his pit stop. And ahead of him is now Julian Kunze, the race leader. Mark Hopper lets Radek Pavlacek and Pascal Wahlmeier pass, so both can go on with their fight. And this might be the situation already. Pavlacek in the McLaren has to defend his 6th position. Going on the inside. No chance for Pascal Wahlmeier to set an attack on this, in this position. No way. But we have seen that he tends to brake late on the inside, making some kind of surprise attacks. And he's really, really close. You definitely shouldn't have trust issues if you're that close behind someone when it comes to braking. Otherwise you cause a terrible crash running in the back of someone. Oh, and that was a really interesting move, but now he's on the outside when it comes to Vodafone corner. Maybe he will cross the line. He's staying on the outside, and that seems to work out, but we're coming close to the Audi S now, and now it's interesting. Can Pavlacek defend himself, stay next to Pascal Wahlmeier? No. Wahlmeier closes the gap, closes the door, stays on 6th position. What a move. Really, really nice work from the BMW driver. There was a slight mistake of Pavlacek in this, or which corner was it? I think it was in the Renault corner. Into the Renault corner, he made that slight mistake. So Pascal Wallmeyer had a bit more momentum to pass him, and then staying on the outside in the Vodafone corner. That was really an interesting move. Great overtaking. Pascal Wallmeyer is up to 6th position, and maybe he can also still attack Marcel Moos. By the way, Kilian is somehow possible to even get a bit more ahead of Dominic Pieper. We're talking about a few tenths of seconds, but he can keep up the speed. And Mike Horn just passed Steph Chris, the French Nissan. And Mike Horn is on 9th position, so he is also trying to get back to at least closer to his starting position. And he's 2.8 seconds behind Jochen Richter, so the Camaro pilot might be getting trouble in the last few minutes of this race. We'll take a look further back, because Mike Davies and Jeremy Mook in a duel when it comes to position 13, and there's a slight collision, and that's what I was talking about. You see, Jeremy had to work hard to keep the BMW under control, because he hit Mike Davies slightly on the back, and usually in RaceRoom the driver behind who crashes into someone tends to turn in, tends to spin. And it almost happened to Jeremy Mook. They both suffered from an issue when it comes to the pit stop. Both had to go in again to refuel the car, which didn't happen when they also changed their tires. Well, so now they are into a fight for 13th position. And there's someone in the pits, I guess. Yes. And the French Staff Chris Nissan made his last stop. 11th position, coming out just ahead of Torben Kexel. Well, just not. He's ahead about 14.5 seconds. And there we see the green and blue Alpina B6 from Julian Kunze, who might be able to even lap the second driver in the field. This is some really tough fighting these guys are doing. Oh, Jeremy Moore crashing into Mike Davies, and that was not fair, and I hope he's slowing down. Looks to me like he didn't see him properly on the outside. Thought there was still some space, which wasn't. Oh, and Mike Davies, BMW heavily damaged. I hope he can finish the race and doesn't have to stop again, because then he might even lose his 14th position. Oh, he's not that far away from Jeremy Mook. They touched each other several times before that crash. So come on, guys, that's GT racing and not stock car racing or something like this. At least I think that Mike Davies' blood pressure just got up a little bit after that one. I don't think he will have a chance to get back to Jeremy Mook, because first of all the car is damaged and Mook was faster anyway. So I think it will be the 14th position. He's 44 seconds ahead of Pavkel Koshkin, so nothing will happen there. He could even stop and would keep the position. By the way, we have another pit stop by Jérôme Devy. And who's coming in there? It looks like Martin Öberg. Yes, the Swedish Mercedes driver coming into the pits very late. 40 minutes before this race ends. And René Lejean in the gravel. He ran off the track. Oh, and the car tends to spin. Yeah, it's difficult to get this such a car back to speed. He still is in 4th position. Lost some time to... of course, he lost a lot of time to Dominic Pieper. And Marcel Moos is about 12 seconds behind. So he got really lucky with that one. He was driving like without any problems for 1 hour and 46 minutes. And then slid into the gravel. So there's no fighting for 3rd position anymore, but I think he will control this 4th position now until this race comes to an end. Let's just check on the really fast guys ahead. So Julian Kunze leading the race in the Alpina B6. So he picked up maybe the oldest GT car in the entire field and is faster than everyone else, and not on just much faster. It is not just some exaggerating, it really is the case. He is a second, his fastest lap is a second ahead of the lap from Dominic Pieper, who is the second fastest lap. This is crazy. Everywhere this guy goes, when it comes to sim racing, he's the one who's fighting for the win every time. I've seen him in several races with some different simulations, and wherever he goes, this is just crazy. And as you can see, this has to be the Camaro of Oliver Kilian, who's in 2nd place. He can see him now. So 12 minutes left, so I guess he will also overtake him. So the whole field will a lap down to Julian Kunze. This is ridiculous. How can someone be that fast? I think we just should honor him with some airtime for this incredible speed. That's the problem when you're quite alone and driving away from everybody. You are not that much in the TV cameras because nothing's going on around you. Talking about that, we have to switch because there is a duel coming up. I was expecting Mike Horn against Jochen Richter fight for 8th position. Oh, and he's late on the brakes. Has to be careful. I know them both for some time now when it comes to racing, and they do have, well, let's say a little bit of history. They crashed into each other more than once when it comes to important championship points. So I'm really curious what will go on with these two in this race. Horn is faster than Richter, but Richter is someone, if he sees that this is Mike Horn behind him, he might be fighting a little harder, and maybe there was a slight touch. Richter turned in hard, and Mike Horn, either way he turned into R2 and hit the throttle too much and then spun out, or maybe there was a slight collision, and that's what happens. The inside driver, who's slightly behind, gets into the spin, and that's what happened to Mike Horn. Oh, he will be angry. Whatever has been the case, he will be angry. Whether about Jochen or himself, I don't know. And now this will be hard work. He's 13 seconds behind Jochen Richter. No way that there's still something, that there was something happen. It's just impossible. He was standing in the Renault corner for a very long time because he had to let pass several drivers. Not only Harald Bachmann, who he passed just a few corners later without much problem, but there was some other drivers that were a lap down, but he had to let them go anyway. Dominic Pieper is trying to push in the last few minutes. He's about 10 seconds behind Oliver Kilian, so he closed the gap a little bit, but this won't be enough. And there you can see, there's the situation. Oliver Kilian, and there's Julian Kunz behind him, and I think Oliver Kilian is like, oh come on, no, please, no. This is a situation he doesn't have often. Oliver Kilian, really quick driver, as you can see. Second position, but the first Julian Kunze just lapped him. It's crazy. And Kilian is losing speed to Dominic Pieper. This might be an interesting last few minutes. Maybe the tires of Oliver Kilian's Corvette disintegrated a bit too much. He lost another second just within one lap. So there could be a fight for second position at the very end of this race. But now there's another fight going on. Pascal Wallmeier against Marcel Moes. Wallmeier almost closed the gap. Two Marcel Moes in the black McLaren ahead of him. Into the Audi S. But not much of a chance to attack so far. Another fight. Further back in the field, André G against Gerardo Del. We're talking about 16th position, and you can see the Mercedes of the Mexican driver is quite heavily damaged. Entire front is smashed. But that doesn't mean he doesn't know how to defend himself. Behind of these two is now Mike Horn. They have to let him pass. There he comes. In the black and red Nissan GTR. And it's getting really close between Moes and Wahlmeier, but Wahlmeier seems to have a light disadvantage on the straight when it comes to top speed of his BMW, maybe because of the slight damage he has. So that he's maybe missing a few kilometers per hour. He needs to get past the McLaren driver. And it's only not even 4 minutes left in this race, and they are fighting for 5th position. That's how we love it, people. That's how we love it. 2 hours of racing and still fighting for positions. Hopefully Pascal Wahlmeier won't do a too erratic maneuver. It would be bad if this ends up in a crash, but he loves these 2 corners. I have a feeling for it. Renault corner and Vodafone corner. Nice move against Marcel Moes, but now he has a problem. He's on the wrong side when it goes into the Audi S. He should have, he would he have been able to stay on the left side into the corner, then he might had a chance to take this 180-degree left turn. But that didn't work. He's definitely faster, but he can't find a way to pass him. Maybe now. Going to the inside, late on the brakes, but that doesn't work. Marcel Moes has a good braking spot for this first corner. This is really working well for him. And that's the only chance for him to stay alive on this 5th position. So next try again in the Renault corner, and he tried to make him nervous. Late on the brakes. And Marcel Moes just opened the door a little bit because he wasn't sure if maybe Wahlmeier would crash into his side. And now they side by side. Better chance for Wahlmeier. No, Moes verteidigt. Yeah, sorry, defense. I'm switching between English and German because it's really going crazy between these two. Really nice work by Marcel Moes when it comes to defending the position. That's exactly the point. You have to stay on the left when it gets into the Audi S, but now he destroys it by himself. He runs wide out of the last corner, and Pascal Wahlmeier has it's easy for him to go pass him, and 5th position for Pascal Wahlmeier. Oh, Marcel Moes will be angry about himself for that mistake, because this might have been already the last lap. No. Julian Kunze, he could have just slowed down, but there will be another lap. Oliver Kilian 5 seconds ahead of Dominic Pieper, so he will make it if he doesn't make a mistake. There's the Bentley of Harald Bachmann behind him. The black and red car. And there's Dominic Pieper. 4 seconds behind. He is pushing, but it won't be enough. The Steph Chris Nissan right in front of him. And I'll just have to figure out where we are on the track. Renault corner, so this will still take some time until Julian Kunze will finish this race first. So, and Marcel Müth and Pascal Wahlmeier getting into the last lap. But I don't think that Müth has a chance. We even have a fight for 19th position between Martin Oeberg and Mark Kopa. And there's Jochen Richter in between of them. Jesus, what's going on here in the last few laps? And where is Julian Kunze? Last corner. And Julian Kunze wins this 2-hour race. The GTR3 Endurance Series event in Zandvoort. Julian Kunze, what a win. Oliver Kilian 1 lap down on second place. Then there's Dominic Pieper on third place. Congratulations to the podium. And then there's a long, long way till the rest of the drivers will finish. René Lejean, the French driver, he made this one mistake and destroyed every last chance he might have had to get to the podium. He didn't lose much time to Dominic Pieper in the last stint, but there was no chance for him to push. Anyway, after 2 hours, he finishes on 4th position, and that's not easy to do. Pascal Wahlmeier, 5th position, and he got it in the last 2 laps. Marcel Müth, he's not as happy as Wahlmeier, of course, on 6th position. Then there's the Polish driver Radek Pawlacek. Ahead of him, the car of Mike Davies, who already finished the race. Radek Pawlacek on the 7th position. Then there's Jochen Richter on 8th, followed by the already lapped Martin Oeberg, who actually made it past Mark Kopa in the last few turns. Mike Horn on 9th position after his collision with Jochen Richter. I guess these two will talk about that later after the race. Harald Bachmann, he's already through, and the AI is driving the cars in a kind of weird way. And now everything stopped. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on now. Anyway, we are finished with this race. Just to get you, give you the whole information. So, Julian Kunze wins this race tonight ahead of Oliver Kilian and Dominic Pieper. René Lejean on 4th position. 5th goes to Pascal Wahlmeier. Marcel Müth on 6th. 7th, Radek Pawlacek on 8th position. Jochen Richter 9th. Mike Horn. Top 10 will be completed by Harald Bachmann on 11th position. The staff Chris Nissan from France. Jeremy Moog from Netherlands on 12th position. Oh, and it took some time. We are back live again for just a second. So here are the results for everyone. I was at Jeremy Moog at 12th position. Torben Kekse 13th position. Mike Davies on 14th. Pavel Koshkin from Russia 15th position. Gerardo Del Valle, the Mexican driver, on 16th position. 17th position, Andre G. Nuno Relvas from Portugal on 18th position. Martin Oeberg from Sweden on 19th. Made it somehow past Mark Kopa in the last lap with the Mustang. And now we're really off of this thing. You, I guess you have seen the results. And that's been it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are finished with this event. Maybe there will be a next one in, I don't know, some time. Thanks go to Tarek Uzali, who made this whole thing possible, who was the initiator of the entire event. And I think it was a big success. A lot of drivers, no big technical issues. It was a lot of fun. I say thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And till next time, I say ciao ciao and goodbye.